Students, good day. Today we're going to create your project 12 for your lesson 12 advanced query. So let's start with your project 12-1, create a calculated query field. So in your job as a travel agent at Margie's Travel, you are frequently asked the length of various trips. So that you don't have to calculate it mentally, create a calculated field that will give you this information. So let's get ready and launch our access. So in our backstage view, let's click open. And we're going to locate your project 12 data files. So in your project 12 data files, we're going to open mtravel database and click open. Next, instruction number 2, save the database as mtravel xxx, where the xx is your initial. So let's go to your file, save database as travel m, and our initial. So we're going to save this in our answer folder. And then click save. Next, click enable content. Instruction number 3, on the create tab on the queries group, click query design. So let's go to create tab and then queries group, next queries design. Instruction number 4, in the show dialog box, double click events to add the table to the design grid. So let's click select events and click add, and then let's click close. Instruction number 6, the inventory field list, double click event, start time, and of course end time to add them in our design grid. So this is our design grid. So in order to add data, we need to double click that field in our table. So let's start with your event. So double click event, it will be added in our design grid. Next, double click start time. So start time is added in our grid. And of course, double click end time to add that in our grid. Next, instruction number 7, click the field cell and the first blank column and press Shift F2 to open the zoom dialog box. So this is our first vacant column. So we're going to press Shift F2 in our keyboard to open the zoom dialog box. So in our zoom dialog box, we have to type the following: trip length, colon, end time minus start time. So trip length, colon, end time minus start time. Next, click OK to accept, and it should be here. Instruction number 10, on the design tab in the result group, click run. The query is displayed with new trip length field, calculating the number of days on the trip. So let's go to your design tab, result group, and run. Let's try to input any number, click OK. And that's it. So the query displayed with the start time and our end time, and of course the trip length. So instruction number 11, save the query as calculated query and close. So right click on our query 1 tab and click save. So we're going to save this as calculated query. And then click OK. So it is added in our navigation pane. Instruction number 12, close the database and leave access open for our next project. So we're going to close our database. And that's it for your project 12-1, create a calculated query field. So let's go with your project 12-2, save a filter query, filter as a query. So as a purchasing manager for a Kuhu Vineyard monthly wine, you frequently run the same filters on a database. Now that you have learned to save a filter as a query, you can save yourself some time. So let's go to your access. Next, instruction number 1, open wine Kuhu from the database files for this lesson. So let's go to your file and click open button. So in our project 12 data files, we're going to select wine Kuhu database and click open. Next, instruction number 2, we're going to save the database as wine Kuhu XXX, where the XX is your initial. So let's go to your file and save database as. We're going to save this as wine Kuhu plus our initial, and we're going to save this in our answer folder and click save. Next, click enable content. Instruction number 3, on the create tab in the queries group, click the query wizard button. So let's go to your create tab, queries group, query wizard button. Instruction number 5, in the tables or queries drop down list, click table and red wines. So just click OK. Then tables and query, we're going to select your table and red wines. So table, red wines. Instruction number 6, click the double arrow button to move all the fields from the available field to the selected field box, then click next. Next, instruction number 7, click the next again and click finish to display a simple query. So we're going to click next and next again. So the title of this is red wines query and click finish. Now we are able to create a simple query for our database. Instruction number 8, on the home tab, on the sort and filter group, click advanced button and click filter by form. So let's go to your home tab, sort and filter group, advanced button. Next, we're going to select filter by form. In the filter by form, click the down arrow in the country field and click Italy. So we have now your filter by form. Let's go to your country. Country column, and we're going to select Italy. Instruction number 10, on the home tab in sort and filter group, click the toggle filter button to apply the filter. The results are displayed. So we are able to filter our country by Italy. So we're going to see the result. So let's go to toggle filter button. Toggle again. Toggle filter. Then Italy. Next. Instruction number 11 on the Home tab, Insert and Filter group, click Advanced button and click Advanced Filter and Sort to display the new query design grid. So let's go again to your Home tab, Sort and Filter group, Advanced, then Advanced Filter and Sort. So in our Advanced Filter and Sort, we are able to see the grid, the design grid of our database. Instruction number 12 on the Home tab, Sort and Filter group, Advanced button, click Save As Query. So the Save As dialog box appear. So again, let's go to your Home tab, Advanced, Sort and Filter group, Advanced, and of course, Save As Query. In our Save As Query dialog box, we're going to key in Filter Query in a query name box. So we're going to save this as Filter Query and click OK. So the filter query should be added in your Readwines navigation pane. So Readwines table and filter query query object. Next, instruction number 14, click the close button to close the Readwines filter query 1. So right click on your tab, Readwines query filter 1 and click close. Number 15 on the Home tab, Insert and Filter group, click Toggle Filter to button to remove the filter. So right now, let's go to your Home tab, Sort and Filter group. You will notice that the toggle filter is still active. So you have to click that in order to disable or to remove the filter in our Access. Instruction number 16, click and close the button to close the Readwines query and save the changes to when prompted. So again, right click on the Readwines query tab and click close. So we are prompt if you wanted to save the changes, we are going to select yes. Just click yes again. Now in your navigation pane, there will be another query added, Readwines query. Next, instruction number 17, leave the database open and leave Access open for our next project. And that's it, student, for your project 12-2, save as filter, save a filter as a query. Now let's move with your project 12-3, create a subquery. You are interested in extracting specific information about the wine prices from the database. Create a subquery to determine which wines have a purchase price that is above average. So we're going to use the database that is open from our previous project. So before doing anything, let's go to your file, save database as, and we're going to save this as project 12-3. Just to indicate that this is our answer for our project 12-3 and click save. Next, click enable content. Instruction number 1, on the create tab in the queries group, click query design. So let's go to your create tab, queries group and queries design. Instruction number 2, use the show table dialog box to add the white wines table to the upper section of the query design grid and then close it. So we're going to select white wines, then click add, and then click close. Instruction number 3, add the bottle, label, type, and purchase price field to the design grid. So let's start with bottle. So double click to add a battlefield in our grid, followed by label. Double click to add it in our grid, then followed by type. Double click to add it in our grid, and of course lastly purchase price. So purchase price, double click to add it in our design grid. Next, instruction number 4, place the insertion point in the criteria row of the purchase price field and display the expression builder. So we're going to put our insertion point on the criteria on a purchase price field, just like this one. Then we're going to go to your design tab and build builder expression. So in our builder expression, we're going to type the following. Select AVJ purchase from white wines. So we're going to start with greater symbol, then select AVJ purchase price from white wines. And that's it, and then click OK. So our expression is now reflected in our criteria row under purchase price field or column. Next, on this number 7, on the design tab in the result group, click run to display the query result. So let's go to your design tab, result group, run. And this is the result of our query. So we have 3 wines which has the following label that match our query. Next, instruction number 8, save the query as subquery and then close. So we're going to right click on the query tab and click save. In our save as dialog box, we're going to type subquery and then click OK. So the subquery should be added in our navigation pane. Instruction number 9, close the database and leave access open for our next project. So we're going to right click on the tab, then click close. And that's it. And that's it for your project 12-3, create a subquery. So let's move with your project 12-4, create a make table query. So as a manager of a Southridge video, you want to archive the current table with the information about used games. Use and make table action query to create a backup table. So let's go and open our game Southridge from our data files. So in our access, let's go to your file, click open. In our project 12 data files, we're going to select game Southridge access, database, and click open. Instruction number 2, save the database as game Southridge XX, where the XX is our initial. So let's go to your file, save database as. We're going to save this as Southridge, game Southridge, and our initial in our answer folder, and click save. Next, click enable content. Instruction number 3, create a simple select query named games query using all the field in the games table. So let's go to your create tab, query wizard, queries group, query wizard, simple query, and click OK. In our tables or query, we're going to select table, games, and we're going to click this double-sided arrow to move all the available field into a selected field. And click next. Next, we're going to save this as games query. So by default, it is key in. So we're going to just click finish. Instruction number 4, display the query in the design view if it is not already. So let's go to your home tab, views group, and select design view. Just like this one. Instruction number 5, on the design tab, in the query type group, make a table query to display the make table dialog box. So in our design tab, select query type group and select make table query. Instruction number 6, in the table name box, key in games backup. So table name, games backup. And select current database and then click OK. Now, instruction number 7, on the design tab in the result group, click run and alert message will appear. So let's go with your design tab, result group, and run. Now we have your alert message. So just click yes so that a new table appears in our navigation pane. So we're going to click yes. And you will notice that a new table, games backup table, appears in our navigation pane. Instruction number 9, close the games query and save the changes when prompted. So right click on the games query tab and click save. Then right click again and then select close. Instruction number 10, close the database and leave access open for our next project. And that's it, student, for your project 12-4, create a make table query. Okay, students, let's continue with your project 12-5, create a crosstab query. So as a regional manager for Contoso Pharmaceuticals, you are in charge of overseeing sales reps in your division. You determine the total samples given by each rep in the first 2 weeks of the quarter. You decided to create a crosstab query. So let's get ready and launch our Access if it is not already running. And let's open our Contoso data files. So in our Access backstage view, let's go to your Open button. And we're going to locate our Project 12 data files. In our Project 12 data files, we're going to select Contoso data files, Contoso data database, and then click Open. Instruction number 2, we're going to save this as Contoso data XXX, where the XX is your initial. So let's go to your file, save database as. We're going to save this as Contoso data and our initial, and save this in our folder and click save. Next, click enable content so that we can modify our document. So instruction number 3, use the samples given, table, and skills you have learned in this lesson to create a crosstab query named samples given underscore crosstab, which is shown in figure 12-52. So we are asked to create a crosstab query, which is similar to this figure 12-52. So let's start. First, let's go to your Create tab and Queries group and Query Wizard. Next, select Simple Query Wizard and click OK. So in our tables or queries, we're going to select samples table, samples given, and we're going to select sales rep in our selected field, followed by quantity, and followed by the week name. And click Next. Then click Next and click Finish. Now we have your simple given query. So let's proceed to create our crosstab query based on this simple given query. So let's go to your Create tab again, Queries group and Query Wizard. This time, in our new query dialog box, select crosstab Query Wizard and click OK. So which table or query contains the fields that you want to crosstab query? So we're going to select View Queries and select Query Sample Given Query and click Next. So which field value do you want as a row heading? So we're going to select Sales Rep and click Next. Next, which field values do you want as a column headings? We're going to select Week Name and click Next. Next, what number do you want to calculate for each column and row intersection? So we're going to select Quantity and the function is Sum and click Next. So what do you want the name for our query? So the name of our query should be Sample Given Crosstab. So Sample Given Crosstab. And click Finish. Now we have your crosstab query, which has sales rep, total of quantity, week 1 and week 2. So this is exactly the same with your figure 12-52. And that's it. This is your final answer of your project 12-5. Section number 4, leave database open for our next project. So just right click on the sample query and click Save. So let's proceed with your project 12-6, create an update query. The name of one of the hospitals in your region has recently been changed and you need to create an update query to change the name in our database. So use the database that is open in our previous project. So in our database, right-click on the tab of the sample given query and click Close All. Next, let's go to your file and save database as. We're going to save this as Contuso Data.gl, your initial, and then we're going to save this as 12-6, just to indicate that this is your answer in our project 12-6, and click Save. And next, click Enable Content. So instruction number 1, create a select query named Update Query that includes all the fields in the doctor's table. So let's go to your Create tab, Query Wizard. We're going to select Simple Query Wizard and click OK. Next, in our tables and queries, we're going to select Doctor's Table and using all the available fields. And click Next. So we're going to name this as Update Query. And click Finish. And this is your simple update query. Now let's go to your instruction number 2, switch to design view. So let's go to your home tab, use group, and design view. So in our design view, use a criteria to select all the records that have community medical center in the hospital field. So let's select first your hospital field, and let's go to your criteria row. So in your criteria row, we're going to select or to key in double quotation, and we're going to type community medical center and press enter. So while your select query, in your design tab query type, the select query is active. So let's click run. So it should display only all the records which has a community medical center type of hospital. So it display all the doctors that works with the hospital, which is a type of community medical center. Next, instruction number 4. Use the skills that you have learned in this lesson to create an update query that will change the name of the community medical center to community regional hospital. So again, let's go to your home tab, view group, and view, and we're going to select design. Next, we're going to create an update query. So let's go to your design tab, query type, then update query. So your update to row should be visible in your design grid. So in our hospital doctors, so we have your criteria community medical center, and we're going to update this into community regional hospital. So again, in your update to row, so we're going to type double quote under hospital column, and we're going to key in community regional hospital, and press enter. So while your update query is active in your query type group, go to your design tab, result group, and click run. So it will have your message. Once you're going to click yes, it will update all of the changes, and the changes is not reversible. So just click yes. And again, in order to check, instruction number 5, open the doctor's table to verify the hospital's name has been changed. So let's go to your navigation pane and double click doctor's table. So we're going to expand our hospital column, and we see that all of this community regional hospital is changed. So we're going to filter community regional hospital and click OK. So we notice that all of your community center hospital is updated to community regional hospital. And instruction number 6, close the database. So right click on the doctors tab and click close all, and just select yes. And of course, close the database and close the access. And that's it, student, for your project 12-6, create an update query. For your project 12, you're expected to submit the following database: Contoso Data GL for your answer for your project 12-6, your Contoso Data, Games Outreach, M-Travel, Wine, Coho, which is your answer for 12-3, and Wine Coho. And that's it, student, for your lesson 12, Advanced Query. Thank you for your time, and again, see you in our next project.